You're live.
No pictures?
No, it won't show up on there.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. And we're calling the council meeting to order because the public hearing has been canceled. I don't know if anybody's here for the public hearing. But the application to rezone has been withdrawn. So there's nothing to hold a public hearing on. So,
Just for anyone that's interested, it's withdrawn because they were not satisfied with the 20 meters. They didn't feel it was enough, and they wanted to leave the door open to come back possibly in the future if they wanted to, with maybe a little better prepared and request for a bigger setback or a larger setback. So it has the possibility of coming back to the table.
yeah. Okay, approval of the agenda and order of business. I have one item to add, 11.6, plan review update from Gareth. And that's it for me. Anybody else? Somebody prepared to move, we approve the agenda?
I will.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Public input. We have two appointments, but is there any public input from anyone? Okay, minutes of the previous meeting, cancel August the 3rd, errors or omissions.
One, I think it's an error. In the motions, page 621,
Yeah.
223-388.
That's a committee.
Oh, you're talking about the committee ones.
The next item.
That's the next item, okay.
Yeah,
So not those minutes.
okay. Somebody prepared to move, we approve the minutes of the council meeting.
So
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. 5.1, letter of proclamation. Newfoundland requesting proclamation. Oh, fetal alcohol spectrum. Somebody prepared to move that we approve that in the usual manner.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Question, Mr. Warden, on the minutes for the committee of the whole. So we won't consider those today, even though they're in our package. That'll be at the next committee of the whole meeting?
They're under 6.1,
Yes.
which is the next item.
Which is the next item.
Okay. Good. Just want to make sure you don't.
So 6.1, committee of the whole, and there are a variety of motions there that need approval. Is that where you're questioning the?
223-388. We talked about the addition of water in the long-term action plan item. The motion was to also include it in the medium-term action plan. That's already in the long-term action plan. So the addition was to add it as well to the medium. That was the motion.
I don't recall precisely, but it's fine with me, yeah. Does anybody have a problem?
I made the motion, so I remember it.
Well, okay, so somebody want to approve all those recommendations with that amendment?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay. The B part is final copy, no.
Yeah, you need to have a motion for that. There was no motion on the last one.
Yeah, final copy of municipal affairs to municipal affairs service exchange.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, it was, I like the letter. I just wanted to comment on that, very well done, yeah.
I assume we haven't had a response yet.
We didn't send
We
it.
didn't send it
I
yet.
haven't sent it
Yeah.
yet.
That's why it's here for
That's
approval.
what we're doing, yeah.
But I can tell you that there's a variety of similar letters sent from other municipal
Oh,
units.
good.
That's good.
All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Okay, 6.2, Lunenburg County Senior Safety Program. Councilor Connors.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
So, monthly report, it's been certainly a busy summer. You received it in your package, so I won't belabor my comments, just if there are any questions or comments as well. You'll see that there is, Pam did include, thank you Pam, the poster along with the two-page monthly report around the Senior Safety Academy, and I believe that Lisa Bennett did mention that when she was here and presented around the fall session that we have planned as a committee, as a partnership, happening at our health center, October 12th to November 16th, and the poster's in there with information in terms of registrations to share it with your communities.
Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Thank you.
Do we have a 6.18? I have it on mine.
Oh, yes, update and Remo, yeah, but we approved, that was part of the approval of the motions in the
Okay.
committee of the whole.
I thought people wanted to know what it was, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think Derek wanted some clarification of,
On the amendment.
and I think that,
Which I've received.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So the next two are appointments, and it's not even, they're not here, or it's not time for them yet. So we're on to 8.1. Tax exemption, second and final notice to adjust the income level by 4.1%, and the scale of exemption amounts by 6.4%.
motion to approve.
Who's gonna have a chat on it?
Oh, sorry.
Well, if you need any discussion, I'm
Well,
I'm happy to defer to what you need to do if you'd like,
I would
but
second the motion because of the fact that, really, Tim, no explanation, no discussion,
Yeah,
because it's,
well, no.
it's an annual thing. and you want- yeah.
I read the report, but that's okay, you go ahead.
It's an
well, I'm just
annual.
back, but it is the second time I've been here with this, so
Yes.
there's nothing new from my side, so unless you have any specific questions or comments that I
That's
can
what we
address,
asked you
then,
to do, that's what we told you to do.
yeah.
So it's been moved and
Motion to approve that.
all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Good job, man.
Yeah, it's tough. Making me work hard this morning.
Is Bruce here?
Okay, 8, what?
No, just looking for Bruce.
Oh, yeah, 8.2, request
We're going
for
through the
decision.
agenda fast.
Corporate strategic man, draft policy, expense reimbursement for comfort centers.
Yes, good morning, Council.
Good morning.
I just wanted to bring you up to date on the current status of our comfort centers across the municipality, and then look into a policy on reimbursement of costs. Right now, the comfort center policy, of course, was approved back in 2021, and that provides the document provides information to the community organizations concerning the requirements of operating and establishing the comfort center. And the policy contains a memorandum of understanding between the community organization and the REMO organization. So currently we have memos of understanding with several comfort centers in the municipality, the Hubbard's Lions Club, which is covering District 2, the Chester United Baptist Church, which is covering Village and District 3, and the Chester Basin Fire Department, which is really a community comfort center. It's run by several different organizations, but it's based at the Chester Basin Fire Department. And also the Western Shore Fire Department, which just came on recently, covering District 5. So we're continuing to work with other organizations who've historically opened as comfort centers to provide services to the community. As of this date, they have not signed the memorandum of understanding.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, Bruce, but
Yeah.
we can delete the Improvement Association in that, because they,
Yes, they're in now with the Western Shore Fire Department.
well, that's right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's right.
Yeah. So we have the New Ross Volunteer Fire Department, who is providing comfort centers to the New Ross area, and also the Blandford Community Center, which we're in discussion with, providing for District 1. We are looking at potentially looking at District 7. We're trying to identify some areas there, and also working in District 6 with potentially having another one up there, which is we're looking at. So the risk analysis of 2022, we had obviously weather related, and we don't have to talk about this weekend coming up.
Don't even think about it.
But it's a timely presentation. But we will be facing power outages, wind damage, and road closures going forward as the severe weather continues. We are still promoting the 72-hour preparedness, which is according to the policy, and that's an international standard. So from a safety point of view and public preparedness, we're still supporting that as a policy. Where we running into problems with the extended power outages, and that's where the comfort centers are really coming into play, especially when other severe weather, in the sense of temperatures in the winter, where they may have to open up before 72 hours. And again, that's their choice, but to serve the community at that point. During Fiona, we had a very destructive impact, and especially in the Hubbards area. The Hubbards Alliance Club opened up for over 4 days, and they incurred expenses in that area. They did a great job and a great community service, so I applaud them for that. The problem, though, was in the expenses, and we had no mechanism at all to help support them in their community efforts. We did work with the Lions Club in trying to go through the disaster assistance program, which is run by the province, but that is really dedicated to uninsured capital losses, and it's a very cumbersome method of trying to support the minor operating expenses. So we did a system on that, but at the point of view of the complications and the amount of the claim, it was just not possible to proceed. So they ended up absorbing that in their own budget, which was unfortunate. So the comfort centers are a valuable service to the community, and at this point in time, they're working closely with us to help support the safety of the community, and are doing a great job, and they're needed.
We need to find a way to help.
Right. So without the fact that the disaster assistance program, I think the limit on that, or the criteria, is $3.4 million before they'll even consider that. So the chances of using that in the future are very, very low. So what I'm looking at right now is to put forward a policy where the municipality can support the comfort centers instead of having a grant process, which is complicated in that sense. I'm suggesting that we have an expense reimbursement policy, so we can support them in the actual expenses that they do incur during the disaster, which would allow me to, at that point, reimburse them for operating expenses that may come about. It could be the cost of water, the cost of tea and coffee, it could be food, whatever, with a limit that it would be basic supplies only. We're not going to be offering major meals and everything, but that's in the definition of a comfort center, that it's basic supplies. So that's my proposal this morning, is that council consider implementing that policy separate from the grant policy, because that would be a reimbursement policy, would not be a grant. So that would allow us to move forward to provide them some support going forward. So
You're looking at a budget of what, $10,000?
10, which would be, I had a limit of $2,000 annually per comfort center, which,
Which would have to change that based on
yeah,
the way the world is, right?
based on historical costs, that would be within reason. Even if you looked at Hubbard's, which was open for 4 or 5 days, that was under $1,000 for that one incident.
Yeah.
So I put a limit right now on 2,000 per annually, and then we can reconsider that. Yeah. So we're not budgeted for it this year, so I would have to ask that that come out of reserves. But then we would re-budget next year at that point.
Does anybody have any issues with that?
Sounds good.
I actually have no grievance with any of this, you know, of course. But since we're talking about comfort centers, this is a great opportunity for me to learn a bit more because I've been hanging around here for a while now, and comfort centers to me have always been a confusing thing. First thing, I'm not sure, I've never been able to wrap my arms around how effective comfort centers are. Now, I hear in Fox Point, they seem to be very effective, but they seem to also, like when we open them, they often conflict with other messaging we're putting out. So we're saying, you know, the comfort center is open, and then the next bulletin is, stay off the roads.
Right.
And so, you know, I don't know, like, we've had a number of disasters maybe in the last few years. Do we have any kind of like, throughout our various comfort centers we have in the municipality, do we have any actually numbers of how many people have actually visited a comfort center?
I don't have hard data on that, but we haven't been tracking it. But it can vary because depending on the need, I think we had in Hubbard's, we had over 400 people attend over those 4 days. In other areas, you can open up and have 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So it does vary.
Yeah, I'm very interested in it'd be nice if somehow we could understand that. You know, when I talk to some other people that are close to comfort centers, they, you know, not the Lions Club, but other areas, they seem like they open and then nobody ever comes in. Maybe part of it is just the people knowing that it's there. Maybe that just is a sense of reinsurance and that's worth something. But
You are absolutely right from the point of view of safety is first in the sense that you have to be able to get safely to a comfort center. So it's shelter in place is your first option. If you are running into difficulties from the point of view of lack of water or whatever, then if you can safely make it there, it's available for you.
seems like to me like a big part of comfort center usage has a lot to do with the social fabric of the community that it's in. If a comfort center happens to be a social hub in the community, then people may gather there for those reasons, and if it's a place where people aren't gathering socially, then they won't. And that actually could be driving usage, and I have no grievance with that, it's just an observation that, and I can see, like, for example, the comfort center, which is the church here in Chester, like that would be an easier one to access because
You can walk.
you could walk to it easily.
Right.
Most of the people that would be close, but for example, District 1 Community Center, not a lot of people walk into that one, few, but not many.
No.
So then, you know, anyways, it's a very interesting topic, and you know, I've always, as an elected official, I've always had a hard time managing or being part of the communication structure, and when they're opening, when they're not. Sometimes I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's extremely confusing topic that I just try to hope that it's working well and
And that's
avoid explaining it to others.
one of the advantages of, because REMO does provide the signage and the emergency numbers, after hours emergency numbers, and we also take care of all of the social media and opening and closing hours through, we handle all that. So, yeah, so that should relieve some of the
Yeah, we actually
The media questions, yeah.
we had people from all over the municipality actually going to garbage fund because there were certain pockets that really needed it, but their community center wasn't open and they knew that ours was, so we had.
So they came there.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
to add to Councillor Vino, part of the confusion might be that there's a perception that they're run by the municipality or by Remo and they're community driven. So the decision to open is a community driven decision. Remo will help, if they're an official comfort station, Remo will help advertise that, but that decision to open, and it might be a testament to also maybe the effectiveness, this is optimistic maybe, but the effectiveness of the messaging to shelter in place for 72 hours.
Yeah.
So that may bring the numbers down because people aren't going out to them because they are sheltering in place for the 72 hours and they have supplies for that. We have noticed that at different times of the year, I think, depending on where they are and what the situation is, sometimes you'll see visitors using them where they don't have the ability to shelter in place for 72 hours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you had the wildfire situation, which is like, the people, if you were asked to evacuate Gold River Beach Hill, they would come to Chester Basin, you know, like,
Yeah.
but it all depends on what the.
It's important that they know that it is there, if they do have a need, and it's,
Yeah.
I just,
Derek has his hand up next, and then Tina, and then I'll move on.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. My concern always has been the 72-hour policy. And I know that's a Remo.
it's actually a national, an international. standard.
international.
I understand that, But when someone is freezing, they can't wait 72 hours. You know, the winter and summer need for the comfort station is much different.
Yeah, and
My question was on the one down in Hubbard's, I don't think they waited 72, or Milco, was it? Black Point? It was open before 72 hours.
Oh, we don't wait 72 hours to open the comfort centers. We just try to make people prepare themselves for staying in their own house for 72 hours in case they can't get
the
it.
current policy is very clear on that if there is a need, a community need, the 72 hours is not in effect. It's the community decision to open. So that's very clear in the policy.
Policy recommends that comfort centers open after 72 hours.
Right, but it is also,
And then Remo, if they see a need, may request for a comfort station, if capable, open in advance.
Yeah.
So who's that request made to?
it's a community decision at that point. They have the ability to open up at any time. Now, if they can't, then Remo does have the ability to work with them to actually request to help.
So really, Councillor Walls, the recommendation is that if the power is out or there's a situation and it's been 72 hours, the Remo recommendation is that the comfort station opens.
Right.
That's what the recommendation is that after 72 hours, please open your comfort station. If there's a situation where there is a group of homes that are in need of that before the 72 hours, the community and the comfort station absolutely have that ability to open anytime.
Yeah.
And if there's a specific need, like we had to do an evacuation and we need a comfort station, Remo has the ability to request to the community group to open.
That's right.
So that's
At any
really what it is, at any time, yeah.
And that's based on need. Middle of the winter, you're out power,
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to deal with 72 hours, so.
Yeah. Tina?
thank you. Just starting off, I'll mention that I do agree with Councillor Vino's statements or comments, observations, everything that he had said in terms of how does this, now I may get this wrong if I'm going to, misquote Andre, but, how does this actually jive with the 72-hour preparedness, but most especially the messaging around staying off our roads.
Yep.
Stay home, stay off the roads, because
Shelter
we
in
have
place.
emergency services, RCMP, in the winter, of course, snow removal and so on, but, so that I'm conflicted because I have to be sure on what my messaging wants to be, right? So what am I saying here? I like the terminology around extended power outages. You use that actually, Bruce, in some of your opening remarks. So Floyd, out of interest, in terms of the comfort center that was open for around 4 days, or 4 days exactly, I'm not sure. At what point did the community decide or show a need? Again, just out of curiosity and interest, I'm not being critical, I'm asking.
They knew there was people that didn't have a place to have food, hot coffee, charge phones. Roads were safe, so they opened the comfort center.
Right away?
Yeah.
That was during the fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So people had to leave their homes.
We had a lot of it.
So there was no stay in place for 72 hours when you have to leave your house.
Beautiful, love it. I, again, believe that our comfort centers with our volunteers do a great job, and it's a great community service. Those are your words, so I'm stealing your words there. Derek, in terms of, you had mentioned there around who's opening and who's triggering that and who's, kickstarting that. I can't speak for others, but for me, I'm either Chief Russell will contact me, or I'm in touch with Chief Lyle Russell, the fire chief. He's the one that's quite often, and his men and women are the ones that are contacted in terms of often if people need water, if they need other services, not just fire services.
Well, what I found is, actually, I deal with Cody as well, but Tara is a great contact because she's always answering during those emergencies.
Yeah.
I don't know when you sleep, but when I have a question, Tara gets back to me almost instantly. So I just want to mention that.
I guess I wasn't clear in my statement there. What I meant by that is Lyle's in touch with me and I'm in touch with him, and my contact to him, I don't even have to say hi. I say, have you heard anybody wanting the comfort center open? Because I don't want to ask him to open that comfort center.
It's
when he's not a real need.
natural for the fire department.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And nope, have you heard? Nope. There's no discussion around opening a comfort center in terms of the people, because again, in New Ross many years ago, we had Neighbors Helping Neighbors program,
Right.
and it was well run. So I think we still kind of go back to that a little bit. So if somebody needs an armload of wood brought in for their wood stove, yes, we still have wood stoves that don't work on power. So that kind of a thing, right? So I'm just saying. Also, then I'll stop. I like the fact that with the report that you provided, that all claims must be accompanied by evidence of the actual hours of operation and an estimate of the number of community members served during this period. So for example, when we did open the comfort center in New Ross last year, I think, the only people there was the fire chief, myself, and a few firefighters who happened to drive by and stop in. So those numbers don't count. That comfort center then opened and there was nobody there of impact from the community.
No,
So again, getting back to Andre's comments around the social, so we need to be sure on that, right? So how many people are we actually meeting the need of? Again, I shouldn't say it because it's up to the comfort center, but yet if we're going to be reimbursing, I think it's important.
Well, it has
That's
to
all
be
I'm saying.
evidence of the actual expenses.
Of the numbers of people of impact. Thank you.
Sharon.
And I'll just say for District 7, I'm glad you're thinking of that, because I know it's difficult. We only have one community center in Canaan, and it is fairly remote for someone living in Marriott's Cove, for example.
Exactly.
They would be more inclined to go to the Chester Baptist Church. However, saying that, there's still people that live in that area that may need it. I know there's no generator, and that's sort of a stickler. If they had a generator, they may consider, but then it's to get there too, because as you are aware, quite often there could be 2 feet of snow there and it's raining in Chester, so it all depends on
The
what
roads wouldn't be plowed and it would be unsafe at that point.
the emergency is, and they believe in shelter in place, and they help neighbors. They call and say, are you okay? And, they have a phone tree, so at least they do something. And, people know if they're in stress, they call me, and I know that the fire department has gone and picked up some people and taken them to a comfort center.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, we do have something, but it's say that we have an official comfort center, we don't.
No, it's just.
I mean, maybe there's a possibility, I don't know if we can partner with someone, maybe Bonnie Lee Farm, or the only other place I would think might be the mall, if there's open space there. But other than that, I don't know where the district would have any community center.
And Angela and I are looking into possibilities there,
Okay, well, thanks. Keep me posted on that.
Andre?
My only further comment on that is, and just to describe my own sometimes confusion around conference centers, is that I think some conference centers will communicate directly with their elected official and or with staff when they're opening, whatever. In my particular area, oftentimes they'll use their own methods of communication. District 1, they'll go through their own website or whatever, and they do not tell anybody other than whoever's on their Facebook page that they're opening or not opening. And I think that if we want to do this may be an opportunity for us to gently bring them back to us so that we can share the information with them. So maybe one of the requirements for reimbursement would be communication of when you open and close your comfort center.
Yeah, I'm in the,
You already said.
Some do that and some don't, I think. There's been instances.
as a remote center,
The ones that are authorized by Remo do.
they have to,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I can tell you, I know that they open and close without me having a clue, except if I happen across their Facebook page or something like that. It's like, oh, there you go, I didn't know. it was open.
Wendy's, who's in charge of that center, is in active communication with myself and Angela right now. So we're working on that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I just feel like
Yeah.
that's important, and, you know,
It is.
if we can somehow enshrine that in some sort of policy that happens, that would be helpful, not just to me, but whoever follows behind me.
Okay, so what do we want to do? Do we want to establish the fund to reimburse them for expenses lost?
Sure.
Yes.
I think we do. So what do we need to do?
Make a motion to do it.
First notice.
First notice.
And if you want an amendment to address the requiring that in order to be eligible for this reimbursement program, they have to notify us of their opening and closing, that would be an
Well,
amendment.
you can do that, but if they're already authorized by Remo, they have to.
They have to, yeah.
I think some of these are not authorized by
not.
Remo yet.
Yes.
No, but the policy is only applicable to Remo
To the Remo
authorized
ones, okay.
right now.
That's was my question, so it wouldn't apply to new laws.
Well, if you're not a registered comfort center with us, I mean, like,
Well, that's
Chester
yeah.
Basin, the Legion used to be a comfort center. If I would call them and tell them that people were calling me and they needed something, or they would call me and ask me if I wanted them to open.
Yeah.
But the fire department would open and give coffee away without, they weren't a comfort center, they just did it.
Yeah, and I know
So
when
you can't stop them.
when the Improvement Association was the comfort center,
Yeah.
you know, I'm on the board there, we discussed joining Remo, and they just didn't want to do it. We know our community, and so we dealt with it that way. Now the fire department is, and that's their deal, they chose to join Remo.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're registered, they
They're
have to
registered with
communicate.
Remo.
If they're just
So-
a community
so-
organization that wants to do what they want to do. they
Yeah,
have to
so
tell
that's
them.
right, so that's what we decided to do. I just find
Yes.
dealing with Remo adds another layer of confusion to me.
Because if they're not registered, they
Yeah.
can't get reimbursed anyway.
So just
But you were also still participating
Oh, absolutely.
with that, yeah.
We were,
with-
yes, I mean, we
absolutely.
owe it, there was, we know our community.
Yeah.
So it's a little different, and I know it's Remo has structure and they say which is open and which is not open, but in a smaller community like I have, it worked well that way. We just opened it, told people it was open, put our sign out, you know, Facebook it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you go ahead, that's your
So this is not a motion or even this discussion today necessarily, but it's going back to what Abdella's just touched on, and that is the signatures on the MOU. And I remember when this was at this table, some of the issues were around commercial kitchen, potable water, and that proof had to be provided, correct?
Yeah, we
Sign
do.
that MOU,
We do a profile
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
but they're guidelines only. And,
See, again,
yeah.
my people like to sign
Yeah.
and be proper, if
Yeah.
you will. They're not trying to wiggle under
Yeah.
anything, right? So, yeah.
Just a comment, isn't there a certain, there's a big list of things you like to have for conference centers, but I think, Bruce, that there's a certain number they have to have.
Well, generator one, they have to have.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah.
I think
And
there's two that they have.
potable water.
Potable water.
They
Yeah,
have
we
to have
can't
that,
send
yeah.
the public to places
No.
that we don't.
No.
Right.
That
Unless
doesn't
we
have
that's-
potable water.
Just a liability issue that we, yeah.
But under this policy, for example, the Blanford Community Center would not be eligible to be reimbursed for open. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, you do.
If they're not a registered
But obviously strategically are in a good location to provide service. They have been providing service, and they have the right facility for providing service, but if they open and provide the service,
They will be.
they're not out. So I see a flaw in this policy.
Similar to the New Ross Fire
But
Department.
their choice.
When it comes down to what,
No, it's our choice to reimburse or not. This is what we're discussing.
that's right, you're right.
The policy right now, as written, applies to
To
registered
comfort centers,
comfort centers.
not community organizations who just do their own thing.
So I've just decided
Right,
my
but
vote.
if we
Yeah.
list
Yeah.
organizations that we know are providing a good service, whether they're registered or not, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Then they will never register.
No,
That's it. They're still providing
I'm serious.
service. Yeah, I know, yeah.
We
I
do.
know.
Why?
because it's safe.
We want, we
There's certain
want to
things they
know
have to
the places
provide.
we're sending the
But they're
public
doing it
are
anyway.
safe.
Safe drinking water, well, we
Safe
approve
food.
it. Are we gonna be sued because we agreed to support, and I haven't done anything? But
No.
But they're already opening. All we're doing is giving them,
that's their choice though.
It provides.
That's why he's working with them to try to get them registered.
When you say registered, you mean entering?
Registered with
Yes,
Reno.
correct.
Remo.
Yeah,
Well, with Raymond.
And once they register
And-
and they open, they have to
So
report.
the memorandum of understanding that you're speaking
Correct.
about is not with us, it's with Remo.
Yes,
It's with Remo.
yeah. So,
Clarification.
And-
Katie Community Center.
And
There you go. Pardon me?
not only Remo, but then they're actually registered with the province.
Yeah.
Again, sorry to belabor, but I thank you for opening that, because now I know where I'm gonna vote, I guess, because again, Blandford is a perfect example. So Canaan Community Center,
Yes.
perfect. Bonnie Lee Farm, again, also. Potable water,
Oh, absolutely, it's tested regularly,
good,
yeah.
excellent.
But, you know, there's other reasons that they don't want to be a registered comfort center. It's also, you need someone there to,
you need the volunteers, you need the staff.
you need staff there or someone, and they don't have a generator, so that's one major issue. But,
But staffing is an important thing.
yeah, it's,
You've got to be able to provide the service safely.
Yeah.
Or else we can't help you. Anyway, somebody prepared to do something?
Is there a particular motion here, or is
It's
it?
for first notice of amending the adopting the policy and providing the,
So moved.
we have a seconder.
second.
Discussion.
I'd just like to say that even though the fire department is now the comfort center, I still believe that even in Tina's case and in Andre's case, the policy should reflect, it's our policy, it's not Remo's policy. So if we make a policy that if you can show, if they make an application and show you a cause that they opened and they incurred these losses, what prohibits them from just the fact that Remo's asking for this? This is our policy, not Remo's.
No, it's our policy.
So I feel that policy should include that. That these comfort centers, even though they're not registered with Remo, should be eligible for being reimbursed. That's all I have to say.
So our fire department in Hubbard decides to open and serve coffee, should they be reimbursed? 'Cause
You
they're
know,
gonna
like,
open it first.
where's that in? We're trying to support our.
Well, I don't
our
think
comfort
that's,
center.
I don't think that's not a good argument.
Well, it is, because they have this summer.
Well, how much is that gonna cost? Like, it's just not like.
No, I'm saying.
So you're gonna put a price on if somebody opens, that we have to reimburse for, that doesn't make any sense to me.
If they're providing the service of a comfort center, which my fire department
Yes.
did this summer,
Absolutely,
other than the Lions Club,
yes,
then you're saying it's open for anyone.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, I see no problem with that, if someone's providing the service in a disaster, how can you not reimburse them?
Couple $1,000.
Anyway, that's
I
just
mean,
me.
max. Provide, come on, look
Oh,
what
yeah,
we spent here.
Derek has his hand up now.
The two organizations that we're talking about that aren't registered, we use that word, New Ross Volunteer Fire Department and the Blandford Community Center. Those are the only two we're talking about.
That's
Right
correct.
now, yeah.
No,
There's-
Western Shore hasn't registered.
Western Shore is registered,
Western
Was
Shore.
never registered.
so it's only two non-registered. Do we know why?
The,
They haven't met the requirement yet, or don't want to.
Well, what's the reason? Why aren't they registered?
Blandford, for example, will meet the requirements. It's just a matter of a discussion with the board at that point, whether to move forward. And my feeling is that they're very close to that. New Ross meets all the requirements, and it's just a matter of a discussion with yourself and Lyle. So
And Derek, I will say, Western Shore Improvement Center is not.
I understand.
there's no disadvantage to becoming registered. All it is a positive from being, getting support from Remo and from us.
I'd be
To me,
curious, I'd like to see what the
there's no
MOU says.
disadvantage.
See why they're not signing it. Is there an issue with the MOU itself?
Not to my knowledge.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense that they're not, but it also doesn't make any sense that they're providing the service and they have an expense that we don't reimburse them if it's legitimate. I mean, they're providing the service. Right? I think we move this along, but let's find out why they're not registered. Let's get them registered so everybody's
Well,
on the
that's what
same
we're
page.
attempting to do.
I don't understand the problem.
Otherwise, when a registered one opens, they have to call Remo and advise them, and they notify the province and the stream, so everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah.
These ones
Don't
that
have
aren't
to do
registered,
anything.
no, there's no rules, there's no guidelines, there's nothing that I know of.
Why not? Why won't the fire department, New Ross, play ball?
Well, they're quite independent. New Ross is quite independent.
No kidding.
And I don't think a few expenses to make sandwiches, I don't care what it would cost, the New Ross Fire Department would still do it, because the community would be there. We've all done it, right? We've all done that in the community.
I know you want to get it through this,
Well,
Oh, my gosh.
but like the only real barrier or issue that I see here is that they may open and not communicate. So if we would simply add
Or
that
meet
into
the
this
safety
reimbursement
requirements.
policy, then that problem would be solved.
I mean, we can give it first reading, but I think we can still have a chance to make amendments and adding those things to it. Or
Well,
do we have to have
We
it?
gotta be careful.
It would be hard for us to control the
Any-
registered group and the non-registered group if,
Yeah, if we let the non-registered groups do exactly as they please, then why would anybody register?
Well, this sort of gives an incentive to register. And
That's
quite
correct.
frankly,
And it's trying to help those people that are registered survive.
it gives me the ability to help them in their community service. And that's,
Tina, and then-
Certainly, because we have a mover and a seconder, I will ask Ben for a recorded vote, so thank you. At this time, thanks.
okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
okay, I'll go with first reading and then,
Yep.
good, thank you very much.
I don't know what's gonna get exciting.
One sec, did you say the property on Mill Lake Road that was up for rezone has changed now?
They withdrew the application, the people that put the application in have withdrawn the application.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I was afraid of. Thank you.
But you can stay.
Easy day.
Thank you, you too.
When is our next appointment? Is
9:45.
9:45. Yeah, we're gonna take a 10-minute break then.
Well, 15 minutes,
It's a good one, that's all.
Nothing wrong with a good argument.
That was